ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bandai Limited Movie Monster Series Godzilla Store exclusive Godzilla 1964 from Mothra vs. Godzilla. Right out of the box, Goji over here will be standing just a bit over 6 inches tall. Not bad, not bad. Here's a closer look at that measurement if you doubt me, and now for the Bandai Bros. Shokugan Shin, Movie Shin, King Series Shin, Sham Shin, related movies on disc in both DVD and Blu-ray formats. Now let's take a look at this tag. We've got a lovely image of Goji up on the front over here. Gojira 1964, Godzilla 1964, Godzilla 2024, Bandai Namco, Mothra Tai Gojira, Godzilla Store. Movie Monster Series. Side of the tag will not be cut out to Godzilla's dorsal fins, but rather his shoulder blade, a little bit of dorsal fins, and his arm. Interesting. On the inside of the tag, we'll get a nice silhouette of Goji and a whole bunch of other stuff. And now to recite the audible trigger that gives me access to all of your credit card information. Since this is a Godzilla Store exclusive, we will have to double sleeve it, so we can keep it nice and extra strength protected for when Bandai does the emergence version. Bandai, do it. It's very simple. A little bit of brown paints on there. Dust them over. Perfect. Beautifully detailed arms and hands with a nice creamier yellow looking color for the claws. Same on the opposing side. And the same for these webby little goji duck feet. Once again, on both sides. Bottom of the feet, trademark and Toho Company Ltd. Bandai China, numbers. Yeah, unfortunately, the tail will not be fully painted. It stops about midway through, and I've got a little paint chip on this one. I missed a postage delivery for a paint scuff on my dorsal fin. But moving up from there into the main row of dorsal fins, oh yes. We're gonna get some solid white tips up here with a more mixed looking color as you move further down, at least for this here center row, and man, the detailing is beautiful, and that will be exactly the same on the opposing side, although I will say this row over here is definitely a lot prettier looking on this side than it is on this side. Just a little bit spotty and a little bit messy, but mostly fully represented with the proper colors. On one side at least. What's going on there? It's a simple thing, sure. Godzilla dorsal fins aren't the hardest things to get right, and even though I have a scuff and there is some questionable painting going on, I still quite love what's being shown off here. And honestly, not too bad for a brand spanking newish mold too. Don't worry, we'll get into that soon. Starting at the wrinkly bumpy neck, we're moving into the chest and lower bellier regions and such, and we do have a light shade of brown going down the titty stripe over here. I almost missed it at first glance, despite looking at that promo shot for months on end. Texture-wise, Goji is very bumpy, almost coarse to the point of an SH Monster Arts figure. You just run your finger along the side of this and it's just so bumpy and cool. Honestly, the skin might be one of my favorite details on this figure. I don't know how to explain it, really. It's something that you just really need in hand to understand. I have many Movie Monster Series figures, but this, I don't know. It's just, it feels cool. Feelings and such aside, we've got some skinny looking legs, some bulbous and knobby looking kneecaps, some very lovely looking shins. Moving back into the feet. No matter where you look, this figure is going to have that texture to him, and it almost makes the figure feel a hell of a lot more expensive. I can't put my finger on it, but, well, technically I can, but I can't put my finger on the feeling that's going on here. Somehow Bandai absolutely coined the texture feel to this to make it feel like a $60, $70, $80 figure, when in reality, I think I paid $30. Little bit of glue, a little bit of stray dorsal fin paint, a little bit more stray dorsal fin paint. The underside of the tail will remain mostly the same though. But oh yes, friends and neighbors, detail-wise, this figure is an absolute shoo-in, a total year topper for me. But now, let's take a look at the head. Look at that glazed look in his eye and those angry brows going on. This is perfect. It's beautiful, even. Eyebrows, Goji has such a look and feel all of his own. He feels properly and rightfully detached from that of 54, 55, with a little bit of King Goji in there, but there's a reason why this suit is held in such high regard amongst fans as just one of the better ones. He just bleeds his own personal characteristic, and it's almost impossible to get him mixed up with any other Godzilla. Except for me, when I would either call him 63 or 62 Goji. We all gotta start somewhere. But yes, just look at that face. And those brows. My god, he kinda looks like Eugene Levy. Look at that! They're practically twins. Uncle Marty Goji.
A 60mm projector.
Anyway, I'm really enjoying the fact that these brows up here are actually a different color from the base vinyl. I believe it's going to be the same color brown that's over here on the titty stripe, so that explains where that came from. And the brows sit and rest so perfectly above Godzilla's eyes to make it look like he is just extra strength angry. And while the eyes are going to be a basic white with black at the center, they offer a little bit more character because of those brows. And thankfully, they were just beautifully done. The rest of the detail on the head moving into the mouth is simply magnificent. And now we can take a look at these teeth over here, and they're very, very well painted. Even on the front, I mean, there's a couple teeth over there that are a tiny bit wonky, but nothing crazy. And even from the side over here, we're gonna get some lovely painted teeth. And yeah, he's even gonna have a tongue in there. Let's see if we can get a better look. All right, my bad, I gotta get the clicky light. Yeah, look at that. There's even some minor detailing on the roof of his mouth in there too. And it looks like the inside of the mouth overall has some proper distribution of color in there. Great stuff. Honestly, Mosu Goji looked like a winner from the time that we first saw him back in late November. So for that look, feel, funk, and vibe to be completely present here in the final product, I'm very happy. 2 solid stars for paint and detail. Just want to do one quick little flyby before we move on, but yeah, this figure is very, very impressive. From the details that you can see and feel to the paint job that is simple but effective. Mosu Goji just totally fucking kills, bro. And not to discredit the work of whoever is sculpting these, be it by hand or by computer, but this wasn't a hard design to get right. And yet, somehow, I'm going to be leaving this review just over the moon, overly impressed with what was accomplished here. I mean, you take a look at this guy and then you take a look at the Godzilla collection, Mosu Goji. My word, they're like 2 different people. Don't get me wrong, my guy. I love you. You're fantastic. You're a piece of times long past. Times that I miss, even though I wasn't technically alive when that figure came out, I think. There's like 3 versions of it. And once again, not to discredit whoever sculpted this figure. I mean, beautiful, beautiful work. But look at this. And then look at this. Which one looks like they walked off the screen? I'm just such a sucker for seeing the glow up right there, right in front of my eyes. And this absolutely is a glow up. Although Bandai, I do have one point of reference for you. One suggestion, really. Emergence version of this guy, he's gotta have the give me hug arms. Please, throwback. Or release a retro color version of this guy with this paint job. Black, silver, and green. Peak. Alright, time to answer the burning questions. Is this guy a reissue? Take it away, pre-recorded Rob. Yes, it's another Rob I created. Now, despite what you may or may not know, I cannot say that this is a reissue of the Memorial Box Goji, as they do differ from one another. Both in the mouths, how the legs and arms rest on the body kind of overtakes them. The body, I feel, overall was redone. I feel like Memorial Box Goji has a little bit more of a tum going on. But I think the most telling bit of evidence that I have, since I do not own a Memorial Box 64 Goji, comes from goodguy73405236 over on Twitter. What up, my guy? Where he does a side-by-side comparison of the 2 figures, and here is where you can see the most in terms of changes. The bodies do look different. The legs are much more spread out as compared to the original. And the heads are different too. Taking a look at this picture over here, you can see that the mouth is a little bit more open on the original as compared to the new one. And the tail is slightly more lifted off the ground, which is nice. But as far as evidence goes for the body, I think the most telling thing on here is going to be the singular dorsal fin on the back of Godzilla's neck. That's not part of the dorsal fin plug. That's a part of the body. and they do differ. And I'll even go as far as to say that the first dorsal fin on the tail that is separate from the body is also different. Not crazily different, but different enough. Big shout outs to Good Guy over on Twitter once again for kind of putting this conversation to rest. Yes, there are similarities, but I am much more confident in saying that this is a newer mold than just a reissue or even a retooling. Plus, limited movie monster series Goji's got them hips that don't fucking lie. And there you go. It's the best I could do. I hope you enjoyed it. Articulation time. All the way around at the arms. Plural. Yes, yes. All the way around at both legs. Whew. Man, these legs kind of put up a bit of a fight right around this area. Nothing at the tail, but of course we will get the head swivel. Yes. So happy there is head swivel. That's a solid start right there. And now for a brief size comparison segment. And here are some things that are directly related to that of Mosu Goji, and unfortunately, I really don't have too much. Bandai, we need a new 64 Imago Mothra and Larva Mothra. Long overdue. And we have this Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, Mothra Larva right here, that I just wanted to add because I barely use it for anything. Believe the hype and follow the hype all the way down the rabbit hole, fam, because this is absolutely it. We've yet to see any wide releases from the movie monster series this year, but following this gentleman, we will have the imaginative color versions and Minya coming out, which I believe are the last of the exclusives, which mean, yeah, we're probably going to see Godzilla x Kong stuff coming from the movie monster series and Bandai overall this month. So get ready for that. Get ready for a wave of wide releases, hopefully in very good quality Bandai, please. Gonna be hard to follow this up. Make me a believer. Make me believe that you don't hate the Monsterverse there, Bandai, because sometimes it sure feels like it. I've been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed, and when next we meet, Ed Big Head Goji, yeah, and the first episode of Jacksathon, yeah, and following that, I could finally talk about those Playmates 2-packs. So, see you all very soon. Goodbye. Good night. For good. Ellis Santa. Let's go.